Yes, it's not looking good for the androgynous android, is it? This story's been covered at length by a lot of talking heads over on GB News today. Patrick Christie's covered it as well. But I'm going to read you this Telegraph article because it's probably, in fact, it is the only media I actually pay for these days. There's almost nothing worth supporting in the UK at this point. The Economist is ridiculous and left-wing and woke. The Spectator's now got Michael Gove working for them, so they're not worth the paper they're printed on. The Telegraph I pay for, it's behind a paywall, so I'll read you this article and give you my thoughts. Needless to say, seems like those Ukrainian rent boys that were taking the Prime Minister's temperature with their all-beef thermometers, seems like they like the UK more than he does. Probably a bit daft to have him running the country then, isn't it? Okay, this is a great piece. It's damning stuff for the Prime Minister. I think anybody that consumes alternative media knows. I mean, we knew before the election. The likes of Peter Hitchens and David Starkey told us exactly what type of slithering creature Keir Starmer was. Oh, sorry, Keir Starmer.
Ha! Gay!
There we go. I really do have to stop using his given name. It's nice to have a forfeit because I don't like to rest on my laurels and do what they've been doing to us for the last 5 years, which is, constantly calling us names all the time. That's why I love giving that withered crone Sowbury both barrels so often. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into this piece. Right, this is from Bob Mendrick, the chief reporter. He said, Sir Keir Starmer led a legal case that opened the door to hundreds of British soldiers being pursued for alleged war crimes. The now Prime Minister worked free of charge alongside his close ally, and who do you think this fella is? Lord Hermer, the same one that had a hand in giving away the Chagos Islands. So it seems like, just putting out there, seems like the fetid, festering creatures that rule the UK with an iron fist will do anything to feather their own nests, up to and including what I would call treason. Hermer and Starmer, in order to make their careers glitter a little bit more shiny, because, you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter, and that's what these two creatures have been doing, openly working against their own country to try and feather their own nests and climb the greasy pole. They both worked alongside the now disgraced solicitor Phil Shiner on a human rights claim in 2007 that shaped the law governing troops in war zones. I'm not going to bother covering Phil Shiner. I'm sure you're all aware that he should be in prison because he was purposely, fraudulently pursuing soldiers with claims that he knew were fake. So it would be worth talking about the fact that this known fraudster who should be in prison is best pals with Starmer and Hermer and was committing treason. But you know what? I think out of those three, he's probably the least slippery customer. So we'll just say Phil Shiner is a beacon of patriotism compared to the two shitbags that I'm going to talk about at further length. Court documents unearthed by the Telegraph reveal that the bespectacled oxygen thief was a lead barrister on the case, which ultimately led the MOD to order fresh inquiries into deaths in Iraq, and it triggered years of criminal investigations into soldiers who had been wrongly accused at enormous cost to the taxpayer. Johnny Mercer, another creature. Is there anybody in the British government that isn't a creature? Johnny Mercer, another one, climbing the greasy pole by having a pop at Roger Scruton. We remember Johnny. I like to hope I played a small role in getting him sacked and replaced with Ravanelli, the new wanker who's the Veterans Minister. He accused the sloshing Portaloo of unleashing the witch hunt against British troops, and it's probably the only true thing Johnny Mercer's ever said. As part of the case, the professional liar and Lord Hermer urged the courts to order a fresh inquiry into a British soldier who had already been cleared twice of murder over the deaths of an Iraqi man in a war zone, telling judges that earlier investigations had been perfunctory and wholly inadequate. So he's trying to stitch up a British soldier who's already been cleared twice of murder in a war zone. Soldiers kill people in war zones. You might not know that if you're a Sparrow-born Guardian journalist, but everybody else does. That soldier, Sergeant Richie Catterall, was wrongly pursued for 13 years. Unbelievable. Didn't sleep soundly in his bed for 13 years because of the slippery machinations of the creatures that lorded over you. The allegations cited by the noxious parasite were found to be based in part on a false document intended to pin the blame on British troops. Again, I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing the pattern. Shiner should have went to prison for it. Probably so should the androgynous android and the slippery little creature Herma. But alas, justice is not a thing that exists in the United Kingdom, and that's why 250,000 girls got banged worse than Stevie Wonder's big toe by legions of swarthy foreign gentlemen, and the coppers and the judges and the lawyers and the MPs didn't do anything about it. But let's not talk about that in this video. The prolonged investigations left Sergeant Catterall, I'm sure they did. It is shocking. He said, I'm gutted the sloshing Portaloo helped bring this case against me. He's now the PM, and he owes me an apology. Oh, he definitely owes you that. He owes you more than that. He should be mowing his lawn, washing his car, and tugging him off every Sunday for the next 25 years. You were only supposed to be investigated once. I got investigated 3 times. I wasn't well when I got back from Iraq, and they kept coming for me. The PM must share some of that responsibility. He definitely does. False claims, paid intermediaries, all of them looking to dig up evidence in Iraq because they all get paid out of your pocket. And as I said last week, he had the brass neck to criticise Trump. Unbelievable. And some of you silly bastards probably sided with the PM, didn't you? And criticised the Orange Oracle. Mercifully few of you who follow my channel, I'm sure. But a lot of the British public jumped on board that bandwagon, siding with this oxygen thief, this slithering worm of a man, over a bloke who's done 10 times more for his own veterans, and I'm pretty certain never, ever, ever had a hand in prosecuting his own. Not once. In an article for the Telegraph, Johnny Mercer said it's clear Starmer was personally involved in unleashing the witch hunt against British troops. He believes in prosecuting British soldiers so much that he insisted on doing it for free, and that is true as well. So Johnny Mercer's told the truth twice in a month. I'm astounded. He acted pro bono on the case on behalf of human rights campaigners, Amnesty International, Liberty, British Irish Rights Watch, the Kurdish Human Rights Project, and every other communist revolutionary masquerading as a lawyer. Unbelievable. He did it for free. That's how much of a maggot he is. The funniest part is when you read about the guy who Sergeant Catterall shot at, he says he was a teacher armed with an AK-47. Not a single American soldier. They did 10 times more work than us, had hundreds of thousands of soldiers on the ground over 2 decades in Iraq. And I bet you not a single one of them ever got investigated and prosecuted for killing an Iraqi armed with an AK-47. That's how much of a sick country the United Kingdom is. It's an international embarrassment. People are asking why he was acting pro bono, and he only stopped working on the Iraq litigation when he became the Director of Public Prosecutions. And what did he do as Director of Public Prosecutions? I'm sure my viewers don't forget. He sent out a circular which said, we believe that children, because their assailants were regulars at the snack bar and Labour relies on their block vote, the children made an informed choice about their sexual behaviour, and therefore, at 10 years old, of course you can consent to getting rogered like a copper's radio above a greasy kebab shop by 30 Turks, because it'd be a little bit inconvenient for Jess Phillips and Keir Starmer. Easy. Makes loads of sense, doesn't it? So to sum up, I'll put the piece down there for those of you that have paid for it. If not, you'll just have to take my word for it. Mr. Shiner there should be in prison. And Keir Starmer and Herma, that little rat, should join him behind bars. The 3 of them can share a cell as far as I'm concerned. And you never know, if things keep continuing the way they do, hopefully the British public will get angry enough to band together and make it happen. The 3 of them should be sharing 2 pairs of orange overalls and breaking rocks for 25 years. It's not just highly illegal, it's treason. Pro bono work to feather their own nests and climb the greasy pole, purposely attacking British soldiers. That is an act of treason. By God, you can see why Tony Blair got rid of hanging for it because he probably knew what was coming, didn't he? The insane statists that now run his party and have always been there in the background, the Fabians and all the lot of them, rotten to the core. He knew what they were going to be doing as soon as they got their slippery, greasy little grasping fingers on the reins of power, so he quickly got rid of that rule, because I like to think at least 30 or 40 million people would love to see that ancient right restored at this moment in time. But that's just my opinion, ladies and gents. If you disagree and you think he's a marvellous chap and Phil Shiner should, be knighted and made the mayor of Manchalabad, please let me know in the comments down below. All right? Thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.